Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nikki with So Nikki Souls and Curvy Girl Collective. So what I wanted to really do is talk about all of these vending events, how I got into it, how they went, how I rate them. And I've had a couple people in my comments said, well, maybe I can start doing maybe I can start doing vending events too. And I believe 100% that you can. So first off, and I made notes because I didn't want to forget anything. So I am new to vending. So I started sewing in 2020, meaning that the pandemic has shut everything down and I wanted to learn how to sew. I took an online sewing course and I started sewing all of my clothes. Fell in love with it, and to this day I still wear probably about 90%, 95% of what I make. So I totally enjoy making clothes. I kind of had a really rough 2025 starting off, and maybe one day we'll have that conversation. And I needed something to kind of focus on, to kind of help heal my mind, my body, my spirit, everything. I just needed it. And for Christmas 2024, leaving out of 2024, for Christmas I made the utility bags for people, and I stuffed them and I made them as gifts, and everybody fell in love with them. And so I was like, okay. And you know, I kind of moved on and kept trying to move forward. So a vending event came up, and one of my really good friends, Patrice, was like, you should vend. I always said I would never vend. It's not something I'm interested in. Not that I had ever done it before or sat at somebody's table or anything. I was just like, I just don't think that's me. But anyway, she pushed and she pushed and she pushed, and I did my first vending event in May of 2025. And we're going to talk about that one, but it was definitely an eye-opener. So yeah, that's how it all started. I sewed clothing, and then I went into bags and craft making and all of the things. So just to give some kind of liners, I'm going to tell you the fee of all the vending events that I did attend. I'll tell you if they're good or if it was amazing. Now, I don't care what you say. Anybody comes that is vending, they want to make money. My bar, as far as if I determine that a vending event was good, is $500 or more. Meaning I've made $500 on that event or more. Anything under that, I'm just like, okay, it was okay. Maybe I won't attend this event again. But I started off with that bar, and it has kind of held true for the whole time. I do a lot of product, and I have two cutters, as I call them. So teenage girls, my daughter and one of her best friends, always asking. I said, y'all can come work for me. This is the way I was looking at it. And they have been a great help. So what they do, anything that I make, even if I measure it out, I'm playing with the measurements, testing it. Once it's kind of solidified, I go in and I make a pattern from it. I get like construction paper and I will make a pattern. This way they can cut, so I don't have to worry about them cutting wrong measurements. It's done. I know what I want, and they take that pattern and they cut it inside and they cut it outside of a bag, inside and outside, and they'll come in with a minimum of 2 hours per day, and they will cut. They can say, Mom or Miss Nikki, can I just come for an hour? If they want to make an hour's worth of money, they can. I make them fill out a timesheet. I make them calculate their hours. I send them their pay. But I really try to structure it so that they can understand how this works and how it will work when they get their working papers. And my daughter can start working when she turns 16. So yeah, it's good. They also help with the vending events. So they're usually at the table by the end of this year of 2025. They were good. I could literally leave the table. I could go do something else, or I could be sitting over doing stuff on my computer and they could run the booth. They know how to ring up. So I use my iPad as a kiosk and everything is there. They know how to put in a special price or discount something to put in the charge. I use a tap or a scan system. They can tap their card or they can put their card in. At my vending events, I take Venmo, Cash App, and Apple Pay. I think that's it, in all cards. So they know how to totally ring that up. They know how to explain or ask a customer, is there something you're looking for? Do you have a favorite color? Because remember, they're cutting these things, so they literally know what's inside, what's outside, what it does, what it's for. Even when I tested out a new product at the very last vending event we did of 2025, I talked to them about the product. This is what it is. This is what I'm doing. I'm trying to test this out. We even had a sign that said new item. So they're really good now, which it makes me happy because I would like to really sometimes, I have my eye on doing something else for vending too, but I want them to be able to run the full booth. They know how to set up. They know how to pack the car, how I pack the things. I usually have the totes, like I have a tote, a plastic tote. This is for square makeup bags. I have a plastic tote. This is for utility bags. So they know now the setup. I don't really have to do too much at all unless I have a new item. And I did add a couple new items this year as we went along. They get paid hourly when they come in and cut. When we do vending events, they get paid according how the vending event goes. So that helps out a lot. And sometimes I'll walk away, especially towards the one we had that was right the weekend before Thanksgiving. I was just like, I'm gonna go finish some Christmas shopping, and they were doing their thing, you know, at the booth. And I get a lot of compliments from people who come to the booth that, you know, maybe they're vending as well. I had a lot of vendors, other vendors who buy my product as well. So they'll come and they'll be like, your girls are so good. They're so respectful. They're so helpful. They're so kind. Like, they do well, and I like it. I'm eventually going to have to mix in maybe some other kids that maybe want to make some money because they're getting older and they're very active in sports and cheerleading. So I kind of want to work some other kids too, but really just giving them an opportunity to speak to people, have conversations, which our kids don't because of that phone, but all of the things to kind of help them grow and develop. Okay, so that's kind of like the foundation of me talking about these vending events, and I made a lot of notes so that I can stay on point. Now, like I said, I didn't start vending, I think it was May. Yeah, I think it was May, the first vending event that I said I was pushed into in 2025. That event, the vending fee I believe was $60, and it was a women's conference, and it was Friday and Saturday. So Friday it was something like 6 to 9 or 5 to 9. It was like really small, 6 or 5 to 9 or 8. And then the next day was the full day that we were there from 9, I think it was to 3 or 4. Very good vending event. This is really what made me say, aha, like the light bulb went off in my head, and I was just like, I can do this. Now with this vending event, first I was very unprepared because I did not know what to expect. I had never vended before. So technically I didn't have enough product because Friday night I came home and had to sew up more stuff. I thought I had enough product, but I really didn't. So I had clothes as well because I took clothes off of my website. Not took them off my website, but things that I had on my website. Patrice is like, well, are you bringing your dusters? And I was thinking like, no, like I just did not know what to do. I just did not know. But by Friday night, I had well made over my vending fee. This was an amazing event. So remember, I base an event if I make $500 or more. This is a good event. This was an amazing event. I sold out of all of my dusters that first night. So that was only a couple hours. And then we kind of went forward with the rest of the things. You know, the pouches, I didn't have nearly enough makeup. But I had product, but I didn't have enough product. But it still was a really, really good event. And I enjoyed myself, and it took the focus off of me and everything that I was going through. So this event, I was underprepared. And I didn't have enough inventory, like I said, but it was a great vending event. The organization really pushed the people to support their vendors, and I would probably say the first night, that Friday night, it may have been about 5 of us, and then on Saturday all day there was probably about 10, maybe 12, if not more, vendors. And I met a lot of vendors there too that I would bump into later on when I did other vending events. So this was my first introduction. I was just like, I can do this. The amount of money I made, I was just like, I can do this, and I can be really, really prepared. So this kind of started my hop, I'll say, or my jump into vending events. My first one, May 2025. The second one I did, I literally go to this farmer's market. It used to be a true farmer's market where it was just a farm, but now they have like a little store and all of the things. So I go in there a lot, and one time I was in there, I saw somebody vending, and I was like, you have vendors? And they were like, yeah, we have vendors. You just make a contribution to the farm, and yeah, you could come and then we rotate the vendors, all of it. I was like, okay. And I said, I hand sew products. I talked to the girl, and I showed her pictures. I always keep pictures, hint, on my phone of my products, because if I'm somewhere, I like to be able, I don't really always have my card, but I like to show people my products. So I showed her the product. She was like, oh, absolutely. She reached out, and they were having a summer solstice, so first day of summer, and it was no fee at all. It was like, come and vend. How good is that, right? So remember, this is my second vending event. I requested to be outdoors because it was summer. I am a summer baby, and I love the sun. I love to be outdoors. The heat, anytime works for me. They had us kind of in an awning. We were covered, fans, all of the things, but it was cool once we got set up. There were about 8 vendors there, and this was good. I had plenty of inventory at this time, but I was still getting my footing. I didn't have my sign. I wasn't solidified really on my setup. I was kind of working on my setup, getting it to where I wanted it to be, but it was good. I did good here. So this was a good event for me. It was consistent, you know, like it was steady. It wasn't like a lot of people, but it was steady. It was a Saturday. Yeah, a Saturday or a Sunday? No, it was a Saturday. It was a Saturday. And people, it was a steady flow of people. I met a lot of people, once again, that I would later bump into at other vending events. And so at this event, I would say I started to get my footing. I started to feel a little bit more comfortable. So once I finished this event, it was a great event. At this point, I started thinking to myself, I could do this. I could do this. I like doing this. Like I said, it's keeping my mind occupied. So this was good. I started doing some research at this point for vending events. I knew I was kind of late in the game. I didn't realize how late I was. But at this point, I was still able to get in on some of the ones that were further out, some of the further out vending events. I had my website at this point under Sew Nikki Sews, because that's what I was doing as far as with my clothing. And the name I was using when I was at vending events was Curvy Girl Collective. And so at this point, I went on and registered the domain. I pointed it to Sew Nikki Sews, and I created Curvy Girl Collective as a drop down, and you can see all of my makes there, so people could grab my things now at the vending events, or they could go on the site as well. So this is kind of when, to me, the wheels started turning and things started changing. So now I'm trying to research, you know, different setups. I'm trying to research different products. I'm trying to research pricing. It wasn't really until later on I sat down with my husband and we really broke down pricing and what pricing works. But yeah, this is the point. After the one at the farmer's market, I was kind of good to go. And from here, I would continue doing vending events. So my next vending event was an NAACP chapter kind of honorary brunch that they were having, and they had vendors. This was not a good event for me. Okay, so you see, I am making the distinction. It was not a good vending event for me. The event was not well organized. The fee, let's first start with the fee. The vending fee was $75. And it was over in a hotel. It was very little communication, very little direction, even as far as parking and, you know, like just all of the things. It was just, I was praying. I was like, please do not let this be what's going to happen for the rest of this event. But it was, okay. The one thing is people were not buying. Where we were positioned was off. We should have been positioned where registration was. The registration should have been positioned where we were. It was just not good. The vending event was supposed to be from 10 or 11, something like that, to 3. They didn't really start getting the event started to about 2:30. It was just so unorganized. It was just not good. And so at that point, this is an event I would be like, I really would not do this one again. But I was okay. I was still like focused because I'm trying to learn this area, how vending events go. Do they work for me? All of the things. Okay. So, I'm not a person that has a problem with a vending fee. So, but I think your vending fee should reflect your event. If you're going to charge me $75, I expect that you're going to have people there that are purchasing. Regardless of what you think, when people come to vend, they are there to make money. I personally used to hold an event and I had vendors, and we were very big on promoting our vendors, having breaks in between the conference to make sure people visited our vendors, letting people know ahead of time what vendors were going to be there, all of the things. So this event was not a good event, and I was okay with it. I had at the same time already signed up for another holiday event at a school. And I was already told that this event was very well attended. I mean, they have been doing this for like 17 years. And this event was in October. So now we're into October, and it was a holiday shop type event that they do every single year. So I got in, and this event was amazing. Okay. I literally prepared very well. One thing that I did is I said, I'm going to sew 100 makeup bags. I figured I want to do holiday events. I don't want to have to keep coming back in to sew makeup bags. And they take a lot of time, the square makeup bags. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take some time and really knock this out. So if you actually go on my social media, you will see the preparation that I was kind of getting ready and getting up for holiday events. This event was amazing. That's really all I can say. The promotion, there was over 80 vendors. We were in different areas at this. It was at a rec center, but it was held by a local school. They had vendors outside. So you had the opportunity to vend outside as well, to choose the outside space. They had food trucks. They had the kids, whatever organization that was really holding this down. They saw I was by myself, because I did start off by myself because my daughter had dance and she got there at 12. But they load you in that you barely can pull up and open your door. They're like, you need help? And then they just come get your stuff. Lovely. once I got settled and everything, they came around with menus for all of the vendors of the food trucks, breakfast, if you wanted coffee, if you wanted tea, different things like that. And so I was pretty much set up, and I was looking at my setup and I was like, I don't really know if I like this setup. I was just like, ooh, I'm not sure. So some of the guys, they saw me kind of looking and they was like, are you okay? Is there something we can help you with? And I was just like, oh, but I remember I'm already set up. Everything set up. I was like, I think I want to move this table. I'm not sure. They was like, no problem. He gathered like 4 other young gentlemen, high school students. They moved it according to where I said move stuff. It was perfect. Even to the point that I'm not really a coffee drinker. I do drink coffee maybe every 6 months. I'll drink a cup of coffee as a diuretic. And I wanted some tea. And she said, wait a minute, there's a vendor selling tea. So she went, took pictures of the tea things, came back, took my card, went and got me tea. It was another vendor I ended up running into. I had already had her tea. It was lovely. But just the whole preparation of that event was so on key. Now, let me tell you something else. It was October, and I'm on the East Coast. It was October. It had been cold. I was like, oh, it's not gonna be good. This particular day turned out to be a perfect day. It had to be like 70 something degrees. We actually had the doors open in the gymnasium, the ones that went outside. It was just a perfect day to kind of be out, to kind of be shopping, to come to something like this. And it proved itself right. The vending event, the vending fee for this one was $35. And that's because I brought my own table. I think it was $40 if you wanted to use their tables, but I know mine was like $35. This was an amazing event, and so I did very well. My first sale, and I always base this too, my first sale was at it started at 10 and my first sale was 10:15. I was like, this is gonna be a good day. So it turned out to be an amazing day. By the time my daughter got there, I was tired. She got there at me like 12:30. I was hungry. I had to go to the bathroom, but I didn't even have time. And even one of the kids was like, I can watch your booth, Miss Nikki. These are the teenagers. If you need to go to the bathroom. But they didn't really know how to sell the product, to work the station, anything. So I just kind of held on till my daughter got there. But it was a very good event. I was happy with it. And I did very well at this event. I will definitely be back there next year. While we were at this event, they gave all of the vendors the information for their spring event. So I've already sent that in. I did that before the year was up. So it was good. So like I said, we're into October now. That was the high school one, the school one. And I did very, very well. The next one that I did was, this one was at a church. But it's at a church, but this church has this kind of rec center, and this is where the event was. It was very well organized. Communication was really, really good. The person who was doing the event, I met them at the NAACP one that I said I would never do again because it wasn't very organized. She knew that it wasn't very organized, so she was very good with communication. I mean, like really good with communication, and making sure everybody knew everything that was going on, all of the things. She was good. The event started off really, really slow, and the vending fee for this one was $50. It did start off really, really slow, but it picked up, and I did very good at this event as well. Now, this is the first event I started doing on-site embroidery. So it was kind of like a holiday one. I had the oven mitts, I had my aprons, and I sold aprons, and I sold the oven mitt sets, and I did embroidery. So this one was good. It wasn't bad. It was on a Saturday. And like I said, the vending fee was $50. And my daughter got there after dance again. She shopped, and she worked the booth, so that was good. Now, the next one, what I started doing, meaning I knew I was kind of late to the game, is I started just going on wait list. I was like, because knowing what I know now, I'm doing events, trying to get into events right now in the summer, and we're in January. So my thing is, I was like, let me just try to get on a bunch of wait lists, and if they open up, they open up. If they don't, they don't. Now this particular week in December, I did 3 events in 1 week. One was on a Tuesday, one was on a Saturday, and one was on a Sunday. So the Tuesday one, I was on the wait list, and then I got an email, you know, telling me different things that you would know if you was vendor. I said, wait a minute, I'm off the wait list. She was like, absolutely, you can send in your fee. I think the vending fee was $40. And this was a good event. It was different. So it was right on the shore. I live on the shore, and then we have other areas along the way. So this was right on the water. This particular day, it was raining so hard. All day it was raining. I was like, I do not want to go to this event because where I have to go floods because it's right on the water. But I was just like, oh, I don't want to go, but I'll pay my money. Get yourself together and go. I mean, my stuff was together. My mind was not together because it was raining so hard. So this event was on a Tuesday evening, and it was from 5 to 7. Right? It was from 5 to 7. It was a sip and shop. And clearly they do this event all the time because they had a good crowd. When I tell you the crowd, we set up was between 2 and 4, something like that. You had to be set up by 4. The crowd started at 5, and they said it was a good crowd, and the crowd left at 7. So it was interesting, but it was good. It was a good event. I would do it again, and I made a connection with the host so that we could stay connected, because she was like, I've never seen your stuff before. I've never, you know, and I was like, I just started vending, which I did not too long ago. But this was good. It was interesting, and it was different for me. There were a lot of vendors there. So I'm kind of still doing a lot of research and seeing what's the, you know, a vending event, a craft fair. So vending events, I'm finding a lot of people just have a lot of product from wherever they get it from, and they sell that product. A craft, people have made it, and so on. But it was all good. Met a lot of people. And when I say they sipped and shopped, that sipping probably helped a lot. But it was good. It was, I remember I came home and I was talking to my husband. And I said, I don't really know if this is my clientele. And I'm saying not the event. It was just like what people were selling. I was the only one that was selling anything near what I was selling. Handmade, but it was still good. And he said, well, what do you mean? And I was telling him, but I was just like, I don't know. He was just like, it was from 5 to 7. I was like, yeah. He said, how do you do? I did good. And he was like, well, where else can you go for 2 hours and make that kind of money? This is my type of event. It was a good event too. I had good people there. It was a good event. So I would definitely do that one again. And it was a Tuesday evening. What else would I be doing on a Tuesday evening? Sitting home. So it was a good event. That was on a Tuesday. The following Saturday, I did the Charles Dickens holiday shop. Amazing event. The previous video to this one that you'll see, that's where you see me setting up at the event, going to the event. This particular event, they let you set up a day before. So that was nice. I didn't have to get there really early. So I went on a Friday. I set up everything. And the host was so nice because I was in a particular place, and I was like, had a vendor on the left, a vendor on the right. And I was like, okay. And she was like, well, I can move you here if you want me to. I was like, perfect. It was a corner. Gives you a little bit more space. I set up. Everything was good. This event blew my mind. Both of the girls were there with me, which I'm glad they were. There was over, I know it was over 50 vendors here. So there were some in the location where I was, and there was an outdoor park. It was cold this particular day. And it was an outdoor park. There were vendors all along that path, and that path led you right over to another area that was a Presbyterian church, or used to be, and vendors were in there. I did so good at this event. I met so many people who told me about other events. They were like, your product is amazing. I love it. It was just really good. At this one, I made wine bags. So the video you see of me doing wine bags, I sold them here, did really, really well with the wine bags. It was just a good event all around. And I was just like, okay, we are right on track, because I was always watching my tote of makeup bags. And I was like, so by the time we finish out, we should be good where I have very little stock left, which was my goal, to not have to make makeup bags. This particular event was from 10 to 4. Excuse me. It was from 10 to 4. Once again, remember, I was set up the day before. We could leave our product. I was comfortable with that. And the door would lock. Our first sale is when it first started. The lady came. Evidently, she had already come take pictures and sent them to whoever she was. I probably wasn't even there, but my stuff was set up. She purchased Mickey Mouse. She purchased the Mickey Mouse square makeup bag, the Mickey Mouse utility bag, the Mickey Mouse coin pouch, and the Mickey Mouse wristlet, all matching. I said, this is going to be a good day. Now, I have to break here because I have to say this. I can remember a really long time ago. And when you come up with ideas for businesses and you're like, but people say, oh, the market is saturated, or so many people are doing this, or so many people are doing that, or whatever the case may be. And so this gentleman was like, have you ever walked down the bread aisle? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, what's on the bread aisle? I was like, bread? And he was just like, so if all these people think I can make bread, which they do, and it sells, which they do, is this market saturated to the point, oh, because, yeah, you're going to have your favorites. Everybody kind of navigates to their favorite. But there's bread there, and there's going to be more people that add bread. Doesn't matter if you think a market is saturated. It's kind of like, you put your thing out there, it's going to come. So the reason I say that, when we got there that morning, because remember, we didn't have to get there early. So me and the girls got there about 9. And because remember, we're all set up. All we had to do was put the signs up, open up the tablet, connect the tap, you know, the card tap thing. I mean, just very little stuff. It was a lady who walked over, and she was not far from me, but in the same space. And she was like, oh, your bags are so nice. And she asked me how much I was selling my makeup bags for. And she was like, oh, I sell mine for a fraction of the price. A fraction of the price. And she said, people buy them? I said, yeah. She said, the tote bags? And she was like, oh my God, these tote. And she was like, mine are only, and do these sell? Yeah, they sell. And this was the sale price I had on the holiday sale price. They sold when they were regular price. And so I looked over at her stuff, and I was just like, well, we kind of have different styles. I mean, I don't really use a lot. I don't even know how to say this, like fabric that crafty people use. And you will understand that a little bit if you start doing vending events. It's just different. It's to me, I look at it the same way as us in the sewing community, as far as like for clothing. Two people can make the same dress, use different fabric, and they look like totally different dresses or pants or outfits, because that fabric is really what makes the outfit. The dress is the same pattern, or the pants are the same pattern, but depending on how you choose to use your fabric, or what type of fabric you choose to use, makes the difference. So at that event, she came before we even got started. You know, I basically was wondering why my prices were what they were and hers were so much less. Nonetheless, the first sale was that whole collection of Mickey Mouse. And that's when I knew you're doing what you do and you see the value. One of the things that I have learned is, she's like, oh, well, I don't really do it for profit. Well, my thing is, there are people who do it for profit, and you kind of lessen the industry per se. or how people view what we do when you're selling it just to be, oh, let me just come up with a random price. Because there's no way what she was selling her makeup bag for that she was even just the materials alone cost more than what she was selling the makeup bag for. So nonetheless, it was an amazing event for me. I did so well at this event. I was just like, yes, this is good. When I do well, the girls do well. So that was the event on Saturday. That vending fee, I believe, is $35 as well. And then on Sunday, I went to Noise Garage, which is like a museum. It's an art museum, really, really artsy. And I kind of got in on the last minute. I was on a wait list for them too. I got in on the last minute for them. You could do Saturday and Sunday, but I was already doing Charles Dickens. And so I said, okay, I'll do Noise. And I think the vending fee for them was either $40 or $45, something like that, for one day. Because you could have, done the 2 days or the one day. I did good at this event. And it was funny, the summer solstice event, it was a girl there vending, and she was the host of this event. It was somebody else there that purchased from me. They were vending at this event. It was good. I just made a lot of good connections here. It was steady. It wasn't really busy. It wasn't really slow. It was kind of steady. There is a college not too far, a college dorm, and a lot of the youth came by. They were always good. So it was a good event. So that was my week of doing 3 events in 1 week. It wasn't really tiring. It was just like, it was busy. So it was good. So that was a really nice event. They brought us lunch. With sandwiches, chips, drinks. They was like, you can go into the room and get your lunch. So it was nice. It was a good energy, of course, after being very busy on that Saturday. I needed a slow day. So that was good. Now, the very last event that I did was at a mall. They did a pop-up shop. And you could do 1 day or you could do 2 days. The 1 day vending fee was $150. The 2 days is $175. So it made sense just to do the 2 days. This event was about an hour from my house. You actually got to pick your area. So I was right in front of Victoria's Secrets and Bath and Body Works, which to me was just like, I sell kind of toiletry products and this is a good space. So that's why we chose that. I had both of the girls with me both days. And this one was organized okay. The only thing is they switched the hours because, of course, we went into holiday hours because this was the weekend right before Christmas. So Saturday was good. It started off slow, but it picked up. I met a lot of vendors there, which was nice. And one vendor that we kind of share events was, she did the 1 day and she did good on the 1 day. And then of course the second day. So that was good as well. The girls were able to really kind of hold down that second day, which was good. And I was able to finish off my Christmas shopping. So that was good as well. And you see me, I'm going to show you my little pin. I think she's gorgeous. This was purchased from a vendor that was at the last one. I purchased a lot from him and they were gifts. And I kept this one for myself. This vending event was good to me. To me, it was the perfect closeout for my half a year of doing vending events. Made a lot of connections. Met a lot of interesting people. Loved the product. It was just good all the way around. And we did get a lot of those last minute shoppers. So for example, this guy came, he was looking at all of the vendors because it was a pop-up shop, like I said. And he came, I said, is there something specific, especially if there's guys, I'm like, is there something specific that you're looking for? And he was just like, for this Christmas, our gifts that we give, this was, I guess they do something every year. It had to be handmade or it had to be thrifted. How perfect was that? And so he was like, I think you're winning, but I'm gonna go look at the rest of the vending things. And he did, and he came back as soon as I saw, I was like, oh, you're back. And he was like, yes. So he purchased a couple of things, which is really nice. So he had all handmade. gifts, and they had to be kind of unisex. So he did get some wine bags, he got some soup koozies, so things like that. So that was good. A lot of those last minute shoppers were out there and they were buying, so it was definitely good for us. So those were the events that I did for 2025. It has opened my whole just world when it comes to vending events. There were so many other things I was thinking about looking at doing with my sewing, but I think this is it. This is working for me. If you're thinking about doing vending events, give it a shot. I have told several people, it's like, you need to look at doing some vending events. I don't think people realize how profitable it can be if you're doing a product and you're doing it well and you're priced right. I had to have a conversation. This girl at the Mount Zion one, she had asked me, she had said, how do you do your pricing? She was trying to get into it, and I really broke it down to her. And I said, and if people feel like your things are just too expensive, they're not your audience. Let them move on. And then the next one will come by and they will see your product and see its worth, and it will all be good. So for me, I'm in now like 100%. I just started researching at the end of December, signing up for vending events, getting my applications in. I'm trying to do some larger things this year as well, because the biggest thing for me is to have the product, because I make everything. So to spend days that are prep days to get things ready is key. So if I know I'm doing something a little larger, I can be prepared. Like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm adding new products for 2026, which I'm happy about and proud about. We did a trip to Philly, the girls and I want to move them into other areas of the business as well. The embroidery did really well around Christmas, so I really kind of want to push that too. So there's other things we're looking at. I'm getting feedback from them because they're talking to people as well at the table when I'm not there. So they're telling me what people are asking for. Do you have this? Do you have that? So I really believe I put together kind of this solid plan for 2026 that will be even better. I really want to get into some wholesale at some shops. So yeah, a lot of different things I'm looking into, and all because of Patrice, who forced me to vend, because I said I would never vend. That's just not my thing. And I absolutely love it. Even that particular vending event, the first one, I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to have more clothing because people really like the clothing. They like the bags too, but they loved the clothing. Just something simple, just a little different, kind of fits into that scale. And now I'm kind of ready. I can prepare very well for that particular event. So I think that's everything. If you have questions for me, put them down below. I really want to, because of all the things, I kind of just started this on my own, not knowing all of the things. So I really want to put together, if you're thinking about vending, what you would need, what you need to know, and really how you come across and how professional. And it's hard to not listen to other people. Like the one that I was saying about the students who unloaded me and loaded me back up, and they came and got me food, all of that. It was two vendors. One was on one side who purchased a lot from me, and another one was kind of behind me. And they were like, oh, it's so slow, it's so slow. And in my mind, I was not slow. Even the one next to me said, well, you've been pretty busy. I was like, yes. So when someone says, oh, this is a slow event, don't take that from them. It was a slow event for them, and it could be a really booming event for you. So for me, I'm just trying to try different areas. I have an event coming up at the end of this month in a different state, and I'm good with it. I'm like, I'm going to try it and see. It helps me get my name out there. It helps me meet some new people, and I'm good with that. So yeah, any questions about anything, put them below. I want to answer them. I had somebody saying, I think I may want to start doing vending events. Get out there. It's another stream of income, and what I noticed for a lot of people, it is the primary stream, because it really, really can be that primary stream of income. So yeah, that's my wrap on all of my vending events, which didn't start until May. I think it was May. Yeah, I think it was May, the first one. Either March, something like that. And something I tried and I fell in love with. So, like I said, that's it for me for this one. Until next time, I will talk to you. Once again, if you have questions, put them below. And I'll see you next time.